Quick question before we begin today's lesson. Which one of these sentences is correct? There was an accident here. There has been an accident here. Think about it for a second. Well, both are correct. It's perfect English, both of them. The difference here is knowing when to use each one. In what situation there was an accident here makes more sense. In what situation there has been an accident here makes more sense. And that's exactly what we're going to be discussing today in this deep dive lesson. This lesson today is going to be a masterclass on present perfect. We're going to cover present perfect simple and continuous, the difference between both, and also the difference between present perfect and simple past, which is a topic that often makes learners confused, especially B1 and B2 level learners. But after today's lesson, that won't be a problem for you anymore. So let's get started. Before that though, make sure you check out the B2 Edge app. Download the B2 Edge app because it gives you daily structured practice and it's a great learning companion to help you practice and stay consistent with your English practice. Link in the description. All right, so this is our deep dive on the present perfect. As you can see here, this is everything we're going to be covering today. I'm really excited about this lesson as well. Hope you are too. So let's get started here with this image that I generated. Look, this image illustrates very well what the present perfect is about. It's this connection between past and present, as you can see. So if it's only about the past, it's not present perfect, okay? Because present perfect has this connection of past and present. So we're going to get started here with some theory, all right? First of all, remember the question that I posed at the beginning of the video today? Which sentence is correct? There was an accident here. There has been an accident there, all right? I told you that both are correct. It depends on the situation. So by the end of the lesson, you will understand why. So let's get started here with some theory. Session 1, theory, part 1. Look, let me get my pen, by the way, very important. Before any form, one concept. The present perfect lives in the space between past and present, just like the image I just showed you. It's a past action that has a connection to now, the present moment, either because of its result, its relevance, or because it happened inside a time period that hasn't finished yet. This is what many learners almost always miss. They see a past action and automatically reach for the simple past. But as you are starting to figure out, it's not always the case. The question to ask is, does this past action have any connection to the present moment? Okay, there's a little bit of a typo of some sort here. I don't think it's a typo. I think it's a formatting thing, but never mind. But you see, this is a key question that you always have to ask yourself if you're not sure whether to use simple past or present perfect. Think about it this way. Does this past action have any connection to the present moment? If so, you use present perfect. Now, if the action is finished and totally disconnected from the present moment, then you use simple past. All right? Let's move on here. We have the uses now. I want to cover with you now the 4 main uses of the present perfect. Bear in mind, we are talking about present perfect simple so far, okay? So that's what makes present perfect fascinating, I think, because it's not just one thing, you use it in various situations, okay? And I listed here 4 of them. First of all, you use present perfect to talk about life experience, all right? Talk about experiences in your life without saying when they happened. This is key information as well. You talk about past events, past experiences you've had in your life, but you don't necessarily say when they happen because the focus is on the experience, all right? Whether the experience exists, not when it occurred or when it happened. The moment you add a specific time reference, then you need to use simple past. A specific time reference could be something like yesterday, last year, last night, last month, 2 minutes ago. You see, all these time expressions tell us when something happened. So I need past simple. All right? But without them, you can use present perfect. The form or the formula of present perfect is quite simple. You're going to use the subject, then the auxiliary have or has. Keep in mind that have and has here, they're acting as the auxiliary verbs, okay? The helper verbs, not the main verbs, okay? The main verb is the verb that carries the meaning of the sentence. Have and has here are not main verbs. They are auxiliary verbs. They are helper verbs for the past participle. The past participle is the main verb, like done, gone, written, spoken, driven. Those are the main verbs in a present perfect sentence. Let's take a look at some examples here. Let me see if I can get a highlighter. Let me see if it looks good. Yeah, that's all right. Look, I have visited London 3 times. Present perfect. Am I telling you when that happened? No. That has happened. That is in the past. Me visiting London 3 times is in the past. As part of my life experience. But since I'm not telling you when that happened, I'm using present perfect. I have visited London 3 times. What about this one? Look, she has never eaten sushi in her life. You see, I'm talking about her life experience. In all her life up until now, she has never eaten sushi. All right? Have you ever worked in a multinational company? Remember this chunk. Have you ever done something? Have you ever spoken in public? Have you ever worked in a multinational company? The question, have you ever, is primarily used for life experience. You want to know more about someone's life experience. So you ask a question with have you ever? It's the same as asking, in your life, have you ever done this? Just like that great song, yeah? Have you ever seen the rain? Yeah? By Credence, right? Credence Clearwater Revival, if I remember correctly, yeah? Have you ever seen the rain? You see, in your life, have you ever done that? I've read that book. It's brilliant. You see, I'm not telling you when I read the book, but the reading here is finished. But while it's in the past, I'm not telling you when I did it. So I've read that book. Okay? The switch rule. Look, I have been to New York. The focus here is on the experience, no specific time. But look at the difference. I went to New York in 2019. Now we know when that happened. I'm telling you when. When? In 2019. So since I have a specific time period, I use simple past. All right? By the way, I want to take this opportunity to point something out to you. Look at this sentence right here. I've read that book. It's brilliant. Notice that here, have is being contracted or abbreviated. In spoken English, this is the most common way to speak a present perfect sentence, okay? Let me see if I can just grab a little space here. Maybe a sticker note would be nice, right? What do you think? Yeah, looks good, yeah? So just to illustrate, I have becomes, whoops, I've, you have becomes you've, he has becomes he's, she has becomes she's, it has becomes it's, and we have becomes we've. You can also use you as plural, but I'm not going to skip that. Let's go with they. So they have becomes they've. All right. So the pronunciation here is really important. One mistake that I see learners make all the time is they often find like the contracted version of a sentence written down on screen, on paper, but when they read it like the full version. So it's written like this in front of them, but they say, I have, you have, he has. Don't do that, okay? If the text is written with a contraction, respect the contraction and speak with the contraction. So let's practice that a little bit. Repeat after me. Come on. I've, you've, he's, she's, it's, we've, they've. Okay? Let's add a verb here just to make it more concrete. Let's say, I've done, you've been, he's written, okay? She's danced, right? It's got, whatever it is, right? We've driven. I'm just using random verbs here, okay? Just for illustration purposes. And they've talked, okay? So let's practice like that. Come on. I've done. You see, not I have done. I've done. You've been. He's written. She's danced. It's got. We've driven. They've talked. By the way, a little detail here about got. You can also say gotten like that. All right. Usually in British English, the past participle of the verb get will be got. They're going to say get, got. Okay. In some variations of British English. In American English, it's more common for you to say gotten. So it's get, the base form, got, the past simple form, and gotten, the past participle form. So get, got, gotten. So here I can say it's got or it's gotten. All right. Now, let me give you a very nice tip because you might look at this, especially he's, she's, and it's. It can be confusing, right? Okay, he's written. This contraction here, apostrophe as, is he has, right? And she has, and it has. But how do you know this is he has and not he is? How do you know this is she has and not she is? How do you know this is it has and not it is? Very simple. Let me tell you. All you got to do is, let me get my pen here, pay attention to the verb right after. That's it. All right? What is the verb? What is the form of the verb that I have after he's, she's, and it's? I have written. Oh my God, this is gigantic. Better to use a highlighter here. So I have written. Okay? No, I went red. No, yellow, sorry. So I have written, I have danced, and I have got or gotten. These are past participle forms, excuse me. These are past participle forms of the verb. So if after he's, she's, and it's, you have a past participle verb, you know that it's a contraction for has. Okay? Now, compare that with he's Brazilian. She's crazy. It's tiring. You see? Now it's verb to be. He is Brazilian. She is crazy. It is tiring because I don't have a past participle verb after them. Okay, so this is how you know whether it's he has or he is. Okay, so that was a little caveat that I wanted to point out, but let's get back here to the uses, right? So this is use one of present perfect. Talk about life experiences. Now let's move on to use two right here. Use two is result in the present. Let me get the pen here. Look, a past action whose result or consequence is visible. Okay? Oh man, I'm still using the marker. Just a second here. Let me see. Yeah, that's I don't know if it's better. Let me maybe do this in black. Yeah, better. So, a past action whose result or consequence is visible or relevant right now. This is the most misunderstood use, and I think it's a fair point. You know, it can be confusing because the action happened in the past, but the effect, actually let me go back, excuse me. The effect is alive in the present moment. In other words, something happened in the past. Again, we don't know exactly when it happened, but that past action has some sort of effect or influence in the present moment. All right? Let's take a look at some examples here. Look, I've lost my keys. Okay, the losing happened in the past. But right now, as I'm speaking this, as I'm saying this, I don't have my keys with me. So you see, that action of losing my keys in the past is influencing my present because now I can't get into the house. So I don't have my keys now. That's the present consequence. I've lost my keys. What about this one here? She's broken her leg. You see, because she can't walk now. So that has an effect. That past action has an effect in the present. Look, they've canceled the meeting. It's not happening, so it affects you now because I was supposed to have the meeting. I'm not having it now. This is affecting my present. What about this one here? He's already left. So he's not here now as I speak. Now contrast this. Look, contrast with simple past, right? I lost my keys yesterday. You see, that's a present event. It's done. It's finished. And if I say this, now it's not really clear if I have my keys now with me or not. Maybe I do. Probably I found my key. Now I have it, but I lost it yesterday. Or maybe I still don't have it. But you see, now it's not clear whether I have the key now or not. But if I say I've lost my keys, you can be sure I don't have them with me now. You see? That's present perfect being used. All right? So this is a use of present perfect that can be confusing. So it goes back to the original question. Does this action have any sort of influence in the present? All right? Does this past action influence my present somehow? If it does, use present perfect. If it doesn't, if it happened in the past and the situation got solved in the past and it's just history, then you can use simple past. Okay? Let's move on now to the next use. Use 3 of present perfect, unfinished time period. Take a look. When the time period of the action belongs, actually, let me read it again. When the time period the action belongs to hasn't finished yet. All right? This is key information. Hasn't finished yet. It could be today, this week, this month, this year. These are all unfinished periods. For example, this morning, if it's still morning, versus this morning if it's afternoon. Now it's finished. This is really cool, yeah? Imagine, look, I'm filming this video on a Monday. Today's Monday, okay? Monday night, yeah? I'm filming this on a Monday. So this week is not over for me. This week is still happening. So because this week is not over, usually when I want to share things that I did this week, I'm going to use present perfect. So what have you done so far this week? Oh, I have filmed a lesson. I have edited a video. I have prepared some materials. You see? Because this week is not over yet. The same thing for this month. If you say this month, the month is not over. If you say this year is not over yet. All right? And even if you say today, today usually indicates that the day is not over yet. All right? For example, today I have taught 3 classes. I have taught 3 classes today. You see, because today is not over yet. All right? Now, imagine at the end of the day, you stop working, and then you go home, you take a shower, you relax. The working day is over for you. Then you can use simple past with today. You can say, whoa, I'm really tired. I worked a lot today, or I taught many classes today. But you see, in your mind, it's already history because today for you, the working day is over. You see, so it's also about how you view the period of time, This morning is also interesting. For example, if I say I have written 10 emails this morning, okay, and it's 10 a.m., I'm using present perfect because the morning is not over yet. It's 10 a.m. So it's 10 a.m. So far, I have written 10 emails. All right. But imagine it's afternoon or I'm having lunch. Now the morning is over. It's part of the past. It's part of history, right? Now I can treat this morning as past. Past simple, I mean. I wrote 10 emails this morning. You see, but I can only say that in the afternoon or in the evening. Make sense? So here are some examples to illustrate this even more. Look, I've had 3 coffees today. Okay, the drinking of the coffee, that action is in the past and it's finished. But today is not over. I might have more coffee as the day unfolds. So I use present perfect, not past simple. What about this one here? She hasn't called me this week. The week is still happening. It's still ongoing. It could be Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, whatever. But the week is not over yet. She hasn't called me this week. You see, this is different from saying she didn't call me last week. All right? We've had a lot of rain this month. We are still in the beginning of the month, in the middle of the month, or even at the end of the month, but the month is not over. Okay? Have you seen him this morning? It's still morning. Now compare. I've spoken to him today. Today is unfinished. I spoke to him yesterday. Yesterday is finished. Okay? Now, going back to that original example, if you are talking to your partner, your wife, your husband, and it's like 10 p.m., 11 p.m. at night, you can consider the day pretty much over, right? In that context, then you could use past simple. Oh yeah, I spoke to him today. Then you could say that. Okay? Because in our mind, the day is over. Okay? I think we can expand a little bit more with this explanation here. Let me ask you a question. When you talk about dead people who have already passed away, who died, should you use present perfect or past simple? Think a little bit. Past simple, right? Because those people lived their lives, but now their lives, they don't exist anymore. Yeah, it's done. So if you talk about a dead person, you're gonna use past simple. If you talk about someone who is alive, then you can use present perfect because the person is still alive today and might do other things in the future. For example, I should say that Michael Jackson released many albums in his career, or Michael Jackson wrote many great songs during his career. You see, I'm only using past simple. Why? Because he's dead. Everything he did is history, is in the past, and that's it. It lives comfortably there. All right? Now compare that with Madonna has released many albums in her career. She's still alive, so she might release more albums still. Her story is not over yet, let's say. Yeah? Or Madonna has written many popular songs. You see? Present perfect because she's still alive. So, as a rule of thumb, remember this as well, okay? We usually talk about dead people using past simple for an obvious reason, right? And usually with present perfect, we're going to talk about people who are alive, unless you want to be very specific. For example, Madonna is alive. But if I want to talk about Madonna's career in the 80s, the 80s are over, right? We are in the 2020s now. So I use past simple. Madonna released many songs in the 80s. Now it's past simple because the 80s are over. But if I want to talk about her career or her accomplishments in general as a whole, present perfect. Make sense? I hope so. Now let's move on to use for of present perfect. How long? Talking about duration of actions, right? Look, to express how long a situation that started in the past has continued up to now. In this case, we almost always use for and since. All right? This is where students confuse present perfect with simple past constantly. Okay? Look, for duration, like for 3 years, for a long time, for 6 months. Now you use since if you want to talk about the starting point, when something started. Since 2018, since I was a child, since Monday. All right? Look, I've worked here for 10 years. For 10 years, I'm focusing more on the duration of that action. I have working and the duration, 10 years. I'm focusing more on how long that action has happened. So I've worked here for 10 years. By the way, do I still work here? Yes, I do. Because I'm using present perfect. Remember, it's that connection to the present. Now, if I say I worked here for 10 years, that's past simple. It's okay for you to use for with past simple, but the meaning changes, doesn't it? I worked here for 10 years. I don't work here anymore. You see the difference? I worked here for 10 years. I don't work here anymore. I've worked here for 10 years. I still work here. Okay? She's lived in LA since 2015. You see? Starting point since 2015. And she still lives there today. We've known each other since university. We've known each other since university. All right? And obviously, we still know each other today. He hasn't slept for 48 hours. And that also has that present effect. Remember, he's probably very tired now as I'm speaking this. As I'm saying this, I'm looking at him. Yeah, he hasn't slept for 48 hours. That's why he looks like that. You see? So these are the 4 main uses of present perfect simple. Okay? Right here. Life experience, result in the present, unfinished time period, okay? And how long something has happened, but there's more, obviously. So now let's talk a little bit about present perfect continuous, which is almost like a cousin to present perfect, right? So present perfect continuous. Look, the present perfect continuous emphasizes the activity itself, the ongoing process, the duration, and the effort. Okay, so the ongoing process, the duration, the effort. Now, the present perfect simple, emphasizes the result or completion of something, of a task. This is the key distinction you need to feel, not just memorize. Okay? So, the formula for present perfect continuous is subject, have or has, again, as auxiliary verbs, been, and the verb in the ing. So pay close attention here because have and has and been are auxiliaries. Okay? They are not main verbs. So I have been doing. So doing, going, playing, that's the main verb, the verb with the ing. Okay? Have, has, and been here in the present perfect continuous, they're just acting as auxiliary verbs. Don't forget that. All right? So now let's talk a little bit about some of the uses of present perfect continuous. That's the structure like, I've been doing, I've been going, she's been working, that structure. So, use 1. Activity in progress, recently stopped or still continuing. All right? The focus here is on the action as an ongoing process. It often explains a present situation, why something looks, feels, or is the way it is now. Okay? Look, I've been working out. Explains why I'm sweaty and tired. Okay? So, present perfect continuous has this idea also of something very recent. Usually you see the evidence in front of you and then you use present perfect continuous. So you see, I'm standing in front of you all tired and sweaty. Why? Because I've been working out. It's been happening recently. I just finished that, for example. You see? Look, she's been crying. So probably you can see her and you can see that her eyes are red, big and puffy, So with that evidence in front of you, you understand that the crying was happening recently. So you say she has been crying or she's been crying. They've been arguing all morning. Now here I'm focusing more on the activity of arguing and also the duration. It's ongoing, right? They've been arguing all morning. I understand that they are still arguing as I'm speaking to you right now. Okay? I've been learning English for 5 years. You see, the process is still ongoing. It's not over yet. It's not finished yet. Okay? Not only I'm focusing on the duration for 5 years, but also because I'm using continuous, I've been learning. It's not over. I've been learning. Okay? Now, look at use 2. Duration and effort. How long plus emphasis on process. Look at that. When you want to emphasize the continuous effort or the length of time spent doing something. Some examples. I've been studying for this exam for 3 weeks. You see, you are still studying and you are emphasizing the effort and the duration as well. She's been trying to get a promotion for 2 years. You see, emphasizing the continuous effort. She's been trying to get a promotion for 2 years. You see, that is still happening in her life because she hasn't got the promotion yet. We've been waiting for over an hour and we are still waiting. All right? How long have you been learning English? Classic question, right? How long have you been learning English? Oh, I've been learning English for 2 years, 3 years. Okay? Moving on here, the critical contrast. So, what is the difference between present perfect simple, like I have done, you know, and present perfect continuous, I have been doing? What's the difference? Remember this, okay? Present perfect simple. The focus is on result, the completion of an action. The action is finished, is completed. We just don't say when it happened, when it was completed. Whereas present perfect continuous, the focus is on the process or duration, and the action is not finished, not over. Look, present perfect simple. What has been achieved? You see, I want to know what activities were achieved or were done versus what has been happening. You see, this is still going on. All right? The feel is done for present perfect simple, and the feel for present perfect continuous is still going or recently stopped, like the example I just gave you. She's been crying because I can see her eyes. Oh, you look tired. Have you been running? Because I can see that you look tired. Okay? So recently stopped or still going. Present perfect simple, it's just done. All right? Let's take a look at some examples here. Look. I've read that report. First of all, this is in the past. Am I telling you when I did it? No. That's why I'm using present perfect. And am I finished with reading the report? Yes. So the focus here is on the finished result. Versus, I've been reading that report. Probably I'm not finished with the reading. I'm still reading it. And I'm just focusing on the process. You see? She's written 3 emails. You see? So those emails are done, completed. Versus, she's been writing emails all morning. The activity is still ongoing, not over. Okay? He's lost weight. You see, the losing of the weight is done, and I can see the visible result now. Versus, he's been going to the gym. All right? That's what he has been doing lately. Now I'm focusing on the process. All right? So hopefully you can see the distinction between present perfect simple and present perfect continuous. Because they are both perfect tenses, they are about the past, and the past where we don't really specify when things happen. But there is that clear distinction of completed actions versus processes or duration, how long something has been happening and it's not over yet. Okay? So we just talked about the difference between present perfect simple and present perfect continuous, but let's move on to the next tricky part, which trips up many intermediate learners. What about simple past, right? How to use present perfect and simple past. Like, when to use which, all right? Look, simple past right here. Finished action, disconnected from now, from the present moment, and that has specific or implied time. This is important to tell you because sometimes learners, they might expect to hear, let's say, for every past simple sentence, for us to have something like yesterday, last week, last month, but not always. Not always. You know? For example, if I'm telling you about the last trip that I took, I can start the conversation by saying, oh, let me tell about the last trip I took to Japan 2 years ago. Now, everything I say to you, probably I'm going to use past simple because I'm talking about a specific event that is in the past. I'm telling you when, you know? But I don't have to say all the time, 2 years ago, or the last time I went to Japan, because it's already implied in the conversation. So be careful with that. Sometimes you might not see time markers for past simple in the sentence, like yesterday, 2 minutes ago. But if you look at the context implies that it was something specific in the past. It happened at a specific time. All right, so be careful with that. Present perfect, on the other hand, is connected to now, unfinished period, no specific time, and the result is visible now. Because remember, present perfect is the past that influences the present. All right? So the three triggers for simple past. First of all, specific time reference. If you have yesterday, in 2010, last week, when I was young, it means that, you should use simple past because we know exactly when the event, the action happened. Also, the situation is completely over. Like, he died, the company closed, I finished school. You see, these are very finite actions, like events. Yeah. Very, let's say, terminal, he died. Boom. That's it. The company closed. I finished school. So for these types of events, we tend to use past simple as well. Also, I would say when you talk about things that in theory only happens once in our lives, right? For example, I was born. Why I was born? That's past simple. I was born. Why do I say I was born and not I have been born? I usually say I was born because you are born once, usually, right? You are born once and then you exist, right? Unless you want to be very specific, right? If you want to talk about something more, let's say, philosophical, yeah, like, oh, I have been born 3 times, but then this is something more esoteric, right? It's not the physical act of being born. That's what I mean, okay? And also narrative sequence of past events. I woke up, had coffee, and left. Okay? So the past simple, remember, lives in the past, lives in history. It happened, it's done, it's over. We know when it happened, and it has no connection, no real influence to our present moment now. Yeah? That's when you use past simple. Okay? By the way, I just want to, before we continue here, with present perfect and past simple, let me just go back very quickly to present perfect continuous and present perfect because I just remember something important. Look, pay attention to action verbs and also state verbs as well. Okay, this is an important detail that I almost forgot to tell you about. So some verbs in English are action verbs, right? For example, work, play, or drink. On the other hand, we also have state verbs in English. Verbs like know, yeah, understand, or even be. All right? So action verbs communicate actions. Work is an action, play is an action, drink is an action. State verbs communicate states, I know something, I know somebody. You see, that's a state, not really an action. Or I understand something. It's the state of understanding, not really an action. Or I am, I have been. You see, it's a state, the state of being. All right? Why am I telling you this? Because with action verbs, we can use present perfect simple and also present perfect continuous. I can say, I have worked, I have been working. I have played, I have been playing. I have drunk, I have been drinking. Okay? But for state verbs, we only use present perfect simple because they are not usually used in the ing form. Okay? So Even when you want to focus on the process or duration of something, you would use present perfect continuous in theory. But because you have a state verb, you use the present perfect simple. Okay? So, for example, the verb know. All right? Know. If I want to say that I know my best friend for 20 years, okay? I'm focusing on the duration. So in theory, I should use present perfect continuous, right? In theory, I should say, I have been knowing my best friend for 20 years. But that's not correct because the verb know is a state verb. It's not commonly used in the ing. So because of that, I say I have known my best friend for 20 years. So the sentence has a feel and a meaning of present perfect continuous, right? But I treat it like present perfect simple because of the state verb. Okay? Now, if I want to use any other action verb to talk about my friend, then I can use present perfect continuous. We have been working together for 20 years. I have been playing games with my friend for 10 years. Okay? So that was a little important caveat that I wanted to mention as well about present perfect simple and present perfect continuous. But now let's move on here with present perfect and simple past. Here are some other examples just to illustrate. Look, I've seen that film versus I saw that film last night. All right? I've seen that film. Okay, that happened in the past. But since I'm not telling you when, I'm using present perfect. I've seen that film. Now, if I say I saw that film last night, it's different, right? Last night, you know exactly when it happened, and it happened only once, right? That's interesting too, because if I say I've seen that film, I don't know, maybe I saw it multiple times. It's not really specified in the past. I could have seen it once, I could have seen it twice, I could have seen it 10 times. What matters, what I want to communicate to you is that I have seen that film. You see? If you say, I saw that film last night, it's automatically implied that it just happened once. You just saw it once. Okay? More examples. Have you eaten versus did you eat at the conference? So here we understand that the conference is gone. It's over. If I say, have you eaten at the conference is still going on. It's still happening. She's worked for 3 companies. She worked at Google for 5 years. You see? We've just arrived. We arrived at 9 p.m. yesterday. The classic learner error. Look at this. Did you ever try sushi? No, you want to talk about the person's experience, right? So use have you ever. Have you ever tried sushi? That's the correct way, okay? Another common mistake. I have seen him yesterday. No, because you are telling me when you saw him. So you need to say, I saw him yesterday. Got that? So that's pretty much it about present perfect and simple past. Now that we have gone through the theory, yeah, here on top, all theory, let's do some practice, okay? I have a couple of exercises here to go through with you. So let's do it together now. Let's practice. Look. Exercise 1. Choose the correct tense. Present perfect simple, present perfect continuous, or simple past. Let's do that. Let me see if I can get my text box here. Look at number 1, yeah? First of all, I have never, which is a key word. Have you? Yeah. And there isn't really the time when. So what do you think? Present perfect or simple past? Present perfect, right? So we would say, I have never, I have never tried. Let me put it here, okay? I have never tried Ethiopian food. Have you? Okay. What about number 2? Take a look. For 12 years before she resigned. So when you resign from your job, you leave your job voluntarily, you quit, right? So before she resigned. So if she resigned, she doesn't work there anymore, right? So past simple, right? I'm going to say she worked. She worked at that company for 12 years before she resigned. You see? The key information is right here. She doesn't work there anymore. That's why I use past simple. Look at number 3. Look at your hands. It's a question, right? Do you remember what is the structure that we use when the evidence is right in front of us? You can see it clearly in front of you. What is it? Present perfect continuous, right? It's about something that has been happening recently. So, have you? Oops. Have you been painting? Okay. Right here. Let me put it here, okay? So, have you been painting? Got it? Number 4, take a look. Look, if I'm telling you that you can read it now, it means that I'm done, right? I'm done with the report. I'm not telling you when I finish reading it, so let me use present perfect simple, all right? We're going to go with let me contract. We've just finished, okay? Right here. Yeah. Let me put it here. We've just finished the report. We have just finished the report. This is an important detail because let's say that the really correct way here is for you to use present perfect. It's for you to say, we've just finished the report, or we have just finished the report. But in many cases, especially in American English, you might see people just using past simple here. And they go, we just finished the report. I just finished the report. You can read it now. That's okay. That is acceptable. It's a common mistake, let's say, that some native speakers make. But if we are to be very, let's say, worried about the grammar, use present perfect because you're not really saying when you finish reading the report. Okay, so it's important that you know that. It goes back to that famous quote, right? Learn the rules like a pro so you can break them like an artist. Have you read that quote before? Have you seen that quote? Learn the rules like a pro so you can break them like an artist. That's exactly what I'm giving you here. I'm giving you the rule. I'm giving you the right way, but then you are free to break it and you are free to appreciate, hearing native speakers breaking it, but you know what's going on. All right. Number 5, take a look. We have a key word here like this morning, right? This morning. And by the way the sentence looks, it feels like this morning is not over yet. The morning is not over. So, present perfect, simple, right? He has called 3 times this morning, okay? But I haven't got an answer. Okay? So I haven't got or gotten an answer right here. All right? But I haven't got an answer or but I haven't gotten an answer. Okay? How long you study English? You know this one, yeah? How long? So focus on the duration. So let's use present perfect continuous, right? How long have you been studying English? Okay? I'm adding it right here, yeah? So how long have you been studying English? All right. Hopefully you can make sense here of the answers. I know they're kind of out of order, but if you're following me, like one at a time, you can follow, right? Look at number 7. Lose my phone. Can I use yours? Think about it. If I'm asking you to use your phone, do I have my phone with me now? No. So, present perfect. All right. Instead of I lost my phone, better to say I've lost my phone. Okay. So I've lost my phone. Again, this is one of those situations where if you hear a native speaker using past simple here, it's all right. That happens. Yeah. You might hear a native speaker going, I lost my phone. Can I use yours? That's okay. But grammatically speaking, the real correct way, let's say, is present perfect because, it's still influencing the present. I've lost my phone. I don't have it now. Can I use yours? Okay. Number 8, look, last Tuesday. So we know when. Past simple, right? They launched the product last Tuesday. All right? Very nice. And lately, lately is a key word for present perfect. If you see lately or recently, you're going to use either present perfect or present perfect continuous. All right? She looks exhausted. So, you see, she looks exhausted. I have the evidence in front of me. I can see it, right? So I can say she hasn't been sleeping well lately. All right? Let me write that here. She hasn't been sleeping. Okay? Let me add it, I don't know, maybe here. This is number 9, okay? She hasn't been sleeping well lately. She looks exhausted. Finally, ever, usually we use it with life experience, right? I want to know about your life experience. So, have you ever? Have you ever lived abroad? Okay? Very nice. So, let us practice pronouncing these now, okay? Listen and repeat after me. Come on. I have never tried Ethiopian food. Have you? She worked at that company for 12 years before she resigned. Look at your hands. Have you been painting? We've just finished the report. You can read it now. He has called 3 times this morning, but I haven't gotten an answer. Or, but I haven't got an answer. That's another way to say it. How long have you been studying English? I've lost my phone. Can I use yours? They launched the product last Tuesday. She hasn't been sleeping well lately. She looks exhausted. Have you ever lived abroad? Very nice. Let's move on here with the practice. Now we have this exercise, which is error correction. Look, find and correct the mistake. Some sentences have no error. Some of them are correct. Let's analyze them. Here we go. Okay. I have seen him yesterday at the office. Is it correct? Think. No, right? Because we know when. Yesterday. So I cannot say I have seen. What's the correct way? You got it. I saw him. I saw him yesterday at the office. Number 2, did you ever visit Japan? It's weird to say it that way. Because I have ever, I want to know about your life experience. So, better to say, have you ever visited Japan? All right? Unless you are being very specific about a time period, Imagine I'm telling you about the time when I explored Asia, the whole continent. Okay, that's in the past. I'm telling you about a specific event in the past. Then you could ask me, while you were, exploring Asia, did you ever visit Japan? You see, that is fine because, it is in the context of something in the past. But if I just want to know about your life experience in general, I'm going to ask, have you ever visited Japan? Look at number 3. She's working here since 2019. This is one of those sentences that, are wrong, but people would understand what you mean. But the correct way here is been, right? I'm missing the been here between she's and working. So better to say she's been working here. Can I write that? She's been okay. She's been working here since 2019. All right? We've been waiting for you for an hour. Is that correct? Yeah, that one is correct. We've been waiting for you for an hour. I finished my homework. Can we go now? So, remember, in everyday life, especially in American English, this will be okay. I finished my homework. Can we go now? But if we want to be more grammatically accurate, better to say I've. Okay? I've finished my homework. Can we go now? Okay. How long do you know her? Again, fine in everyday situation, people would get what you're saying, but not really correct. Better to say, how long have you known her? How long have you known her? Oh, I've known her for 5 years. Okay? Because, remember, my purpose here is not to, teach you like what is accepted only. I also want to teach you what's correct, especially if you want to be a B2, C1, C2 level learner. You need to know good grammar, let's say. So you can even spot when a native speaker is not using, a correct grammar. All right? He has been writing 4 reports this week. He has been writing 4 reports this week. It's a little bit weird because it would be better to say he has written. Okay? Better to focus on the completed action. He has written 4 reports this week. You see, it's done, it's completed. All right? They have lived in London for 10 years. Is that correct? That's correct. If I say they have lived in London for 10 years, they still live in London today. If I say they lived in London for 10 years, they don't live there anymore. All right? And sometimes you might even say they have been living in London for 10 years. It's fine too. Okay? Number 9, I've been to 3 countries last year. Is that correct? No, right? Last year. Not I've been. So I was in 3 countries last year. That's one possibility. I was in 3 countries last year. Or simply I went, you know, I went to 3 countries last year. Okay. Finally, have you heard the news? They've canceled the event. Is that correct? Yes, it is. Have you heard the news? They've canceled the event. You see, it's influencing the present moment now because now there's no more event. Got it? Very nice, very nice. Now to conclude, I have here a solo quiz for you. All right? So take a look. This is a solo quiz. Yeah? Now I'm going to give you some time for you to do it. Make sure you pause the video now. Okay? Just pause the video and take your time answering those questions there. You can use your phone or a notepad. All right? And then play it back again so I can show you the answers. All right? So make sure you pause the video because I'm going to start ticking the right options here. Okay? All right, for number 1, the correct way is have you ever had a job interview in English? Okay? Have you ever had a job interview in English? Number 2, she looks tired. She has been working all day. Okay? She looks tired. I can see it. Number 3, which sentence is correct? A, B, C, or D? Letter B, right? I saw him yesterday. I saw him yesterday. One detail here, it's also okay for you to say, I did see him yesterday, but only if you want to emphasize. Imagine you're talking to a friend, and then your friend asks you, hey, did you see him yesterday? And then you say, yeah, I saw him yesterday. And then your friend doesn't believe you. Your friend goes, nah, come on, I don't buy it. You didn't see him yesterday, did you? And then you go, yeah, I saw him yesterday. Nah, you didn't see him. So to emphasize, you can say, look, I did see him yesterday, okay? Trust me. All right, so in that specific situation, if you want to be more emphatic, you can also say letter D, okay? Number 4, take a look. We have known this client for over 5 years because the verb know is a state verb. We don't usually use it in the ing, okay? 5, look, the week isn't over. Very important detail. So, he has written 3 articles this week. Now, if the week is over, maybe you are writing this or saying this on a Friday, then you could say, yeah, he wrote 3 articles this week. You got the difference? Very nice. We got some more here. So take a look at number 6 now. So I can't find my passport. I think I have lost it. Why? Because I don't have it with me now. I can't find it. All right? But remember, in everyday conversation, it's okay for you if you hear people saying, I can't find my passport. I think I lost it. All right? But, to be more grammatically accurate, let's use present perfect. Okay? Number 7. So what's the difference between she's written the proposal and she's been writing the proposal? She's written, she's been writing. The difference is that in the first one, she's done. The proposal is finished. She's written the proposal. She's been writing the proposal. She's still doing it. The proposal is not finished. Okay? Number 8. How long have you been living in Tokyo? And then you answer, oh, I've been living in Tokyo for 3 years. All right? But I can also ask, how long did you live in Tokyo? It's also possible. But then we understand that you don't live in Tokyo anymore. I'm telling you my travel adventures. And then you can say, oh, you lived in Tokyo for 2 years. That's great. I know you don't live there anymore, but how long did you live in Tokyo? Was it really 2 years? I thought it was longer. You see? So both are possible. It depends on what you want to communicate and the context. I have been teaching English for 20 years, and I still love it. Okay? And number 10. Simple past correctly, okay? So first of all, if you see have or has, that's not simple past. Okay? So letter C, right? They launched the app last month. That's the one that uses simple past correctly. Very nice. So how did you do? Let me know how you did. I have here a little result section just for fun, Look, if you got 9 out of 10, it means that you own this. You own the present perfect. You mastered it. Move on with confidence. If you got 7 to 8 correct, solid. Rewatch the section you struggle with the most. 5 to 6 correct, go back to session 1, the theory, because maybe the theory isn't fully grasped or locked in for you yet. If you got below 5, restart from the beginning because this 10 system needs more time for you. But I'm sure that I think for many of you, you probably got, maybe 7 upwards, correct? I hope. Now to conclude, let me bring back the original question. There was an accident here. There has been an accident here. Remember I told you, both are correct. It depends on the situation. Look at this street right here. It's empty, right? But imagine there was an accident here yesterday. Then as you walk by with your friend here, you can say this. Oh yeah, there was an accident here, remember? Yeah, it was really terrifying. Look at this picture now. As you are walking on the street with your friend, you see some commotion, There's an ambulance, some police officers. You see? Then you can say, oh, look, I think there has been an accident here. You see? It's that past event, that past incident that is still having some sort of influence in the present. Got it? So both are fine. It depends on the situation and what you want to communicate. All right? So there you have it. Woo! That was a long one as well. Are you alive? I hope so. So this is everything we've covered today. So just to do a quick recap, we started with some theory, right? The big idea behind present perfect, how present perfect is this connection of past and present, and then we went through the 4, uses of present perfect simple right here. And then we talked about present perfect continuous, the big idea of that structure. We went over use 1, use 2 of present perfect continuous. And we also compared when to use I have done and I have been doing, for example, right? And then we discussed present perfect versus simple past. Like, how can you tell the difference between present perfect and simple past? We saw some examples here. And finally, we did some exercises, right? We did this exercise here, and then this one, correcting errors, and then this final quiz for you to test your knowledge. All right? And now you know the answer. Now you know why there was an accident here and there has been an accident here are both correct, but you understand the difference now. All right? So that's it for the deep dive. I hope you enjoyed it. All right, you've made it to the end of the deep dive. Good job. This is the deep dive on present perfect. I hope it was helpful for you. I hope you learned a lot with it. And if you still have questions about this topic, you can post them here in the comment section below. Don't forget to download and try the B2 Edge app. It's an app I created specifically for B1 and B2 level learners who want to solidify their upper intermediate level and stay consistent with the practice. You know, theory is great. What I just gave you in this masterclass, in this deep dive, was a lot of theory, which is awesome. It's the starting point. But now you need a place to practice this consistently, daily. The B2 Edge app gives you that space every day. So do check it out. And of course, make sure you subscribe to the channel so you don't miss any new lessons that I post here. I'm often posting new lessons targeting B1, B2, and C1 level learners. So if you have been watching my videos for a while, but you're not subscribed yet, make sure you do, because it doesn't cost you anything. It's something very quick for you to do, and it helps the channel keep growing so that more learners can benefit from these videos. All right? If you want to keep learning more, I highly recommend to check out another lesson next. This one that is showing up here on the screen. But for now, I'm Thiago. I'm signing off. Thank you so much for your attention, and I'll talk to you very soon.